Morning. Now today we are testing for the first time an inflatable booth that we've got. We're using this temporarily just while we're waiting for our main booth to be built. We're going to be painting our 74 Mark IV Spitfire in pimento red. So this is the first use of this booth. So it'll be quite interesting to see how it goes. It came with two fans. It's from China via eBay for about 1,500 quid. And that's it there in that little box. So we're going to pump that up now and see how it goes.
We got the big one, which is 9 by 6 meters and then 4 meters high. When it comes in a box that you could fit in the boot of an average family car quite happily. But just bear in mind that once you've used it and then you put it away again, you're never going to get it down to that size. In fact, we couldn't get it down to anything less than the whole of an average family car. So when you store it, you're going to need a fair bit of space to put it away. Putting it up is very easy. It comes with two fans. One of them blows up the booth, and you need to leave that on all the time, because if that goes off then the whole thing will collapse in just a few moments. So you've got to be careful with your power, but it goes up pretty easily. You might need to pull the bottom out and sort of pull the pillars out around a little bit just to get it to stand straight. There are a couple of zips as well on the sides that you need to make sure that are fully zipped up. They aid with deflation, so if you try and put it up with those open, then it won't get up properly. The second fan blows into this handy little room here and then goes out into the paint area through two filters in the wall. And then when the transparent door at the end there is fully zip closed, the air goes out through those big black filters on the sides, trapping any paint particles in those filters. And it does seem to work pretty well. Now, during actual painting, the booth was brilliant and the extraction seemed to work really well. With primers and base coats at least, that dried quite fast. The air never seemed to be full of overspray. And the filters were certainly collecting the paint particles because you could see it on the filters at the end of the day, which you could then easily hoover off. I'm really rather pleased with how it worked as an actual paint booth. The zips on this booth are brilliant, really strong, very good quality. In fact, everything seems to be really good quality. Not had a single bit of damage or tearing or any loose threads or anything like that. It also comes with pegs, which are glow in the dark, I found, and ropes, so you can tie it down. But in any wind above sort of 6 or 7 miles an hour, I found the whole thing was swaying all over the place. It wouldn't be so bad with a smaller booth, but this one was all over the shop, and the only thing holding it down, it seems, even with the pegs in, was the car inside the booth. So I really struggled in the wind and had to abandon a few painting days when the wind was too high. Now, putting it down again can be a bit of a faff. I find that if you roll in the sides, once you've obviously switched off the fans, opened all the vents and the doors, then let it flatten down. It'll never flatten down completely, of course. It may do, but it might take hours. And then you can fold in the sides, and then so that it's not too wide, and then roll it up, and pushing out all the air as you go. Now, when you're doing this on your own, it is quite a job. And it's not something that I look forward to at the end of a hard day's painting. And also you need to allow for quite a bit of time to do this. So if you're putting it up and down every day, it does become a bit of a faff. And as I said before, once you've got it folded up, it does take up quite a lot of space, this one in particular. Obviously this is a big one, but we couldn't get it down to much smaller than the size of a car. And so you'll need that space somewhere to store it. So all in all, the positives are the quality is excellent. Very, very good, very impressed. Came in a lovely little bag as well, not that you'd ever get it back into it. It works really well. The filters work. The system of blowing air through out of the filter seems to work and doesn't leave much overspray in the booth. The little room at the end is useful. You can put your compressor in there, be lots of fresh air. The end door where you bring your car in is very easy to use, very functional. It's also good to let lots of light in, and there's lots of windows, of course, in the sides and the roof. There are lots of little ties on the pillars on the inside that you could tie things to. I'm not sure if the pillars are strong enough to hold anything. I didn't use them, but there are lots of ties on the inside, maybe for lighting. You've got glow-in-the-dark pegs and lots of rope to hold it down. And overall, it does exactly what you'd want a booth to do, and we got really good results with it. The negatives, if you're painting somewhere windy, it really can be quite hairy. As I say, the only thing holding it down was the car inside. The floor was billowing everywhere, and the sides were swaying, even with it tied down with the pegs. And that was only sort of 10, 12 miles an hour wind. So if it's something really windy, then you could end up in somebody else's field. and the space it takes up when it's folded down will never be as small as it was when it arrived. Now obviously we've got a very big one here, but just be aware of the size it will take up when it's folded down. But overall, really impressed.